Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. How many stomachs does a cow have? How many stomachs does a cow have? Some are guessing 3, others are guessing 4, others are thinking this is not our freedom walk and our freedom talk. A cow has 1 stomach, but it's divided into 4. And the reason for this is that they have to chew on a very difficult substance that is hay, that is grass. So they need these different sections to be able to digest that rough substance. Internalizing this to what we do. We are not engaged in a rough substance, but we are engaged in a science that we're not used to. We're used to medicine. We're used to history. We're used to cooking. We're used to fighting. And so we keep reviewing independent joy in many different ways. And if you can imagine, like a cow has 4 sections to its stomach, you will know that you are internalizing independent joy. The first section, if you have more clarity. The second section, if you have more conviction. The third section, if you have more confidence. It's becoming closer and closer and closer. And when that science becomes you, that 4th section is contentment. Clarity, conviction, confidence, contentment. This is the plan for meaningful mornings. For us not to just be confident. You can learn that from a motivational speaker, from an online course. For us to be content. Yesterday, I was listening to a report that the US Surgeon General, he's also known as the second Vivek. His name is Vivek Murthy. That there's a great spread of misinformation in America towards the vaccinations for the coronavirus. This misinformation is causing people to not get vaccinated, and they're the ones who are getting sick and dying. And so his request to governments, to social media corporations, is to filter out that misinformation. Prince Arjuna and us, we also have misinformation of what it would be to be content, to be enlightened. So Prince Arjuna is asking, what is the experience of being independently joyous? In Bhagavad Gita, this is known as the Sthita Prajna Lakshanas. In other scriptures, this is known as the Jivan Mukta Vilakshana. Vilakshana means significant sign. Mukta means free. Jivan means while alive.
we have this notion that when the body dies, then one can be enlightened. The related projection is that you can be happy only when you're older. Jivan Mukta Vilakshanas. This is what we're flowing through. In our last verse, verse 66, Shri Krishna shares, Abuddhi will naturally lead to Ayukta, which will naturally lead to Abhavana, which will lead to Ashanta, which will lead to Asukha. In summary, if one doesn't engage in the right actions, one will never experience the right ananda. Buddhi is the right actions. Sukha is the right ananda. I often remember, and I heard this first from Swami Tejomayananda, that the softest pillow is a clean conscience. How does one sleep better? By engaging in their responsibilities. Imagine sleeping better. Is that sukha? But how do you do that? By being responsible while you're awake. All morning, all day, all evening. With that, we complete verse 66. Verse 63 answered the question, or completed answering the question, how does the content person sit? Verses 64 and 65 complete the answer to, how does the content person walk? Please internalize that they walk joyously. There are two characteristics of independent joy. One is that there's no other sorrow that comes with it. Two, this comes from your own being. I'm sharing this with you because the dependent joy that we all experience doesn't end sorrow. Agreed? Even when you're on vacation, you're still thinking about what's happening at home. It doesn't end sorrow. And it doesn't come from your being. The Jivan Mukta, the Sthita Prajna, they walk joyously. Verses 66 and 67 are a warning. All questions have been answered. Shri Krishna naturally is encouraging us to live like this. Verses 66 and 67 are a warning that if you don't live like this, you will never change. The sorrow and fear and confusion you have, Prince Arjuna, that will go on forever. And specifying this to us, we are about to complete chapter 2, which is the whole table of contents of Bhagavad Gita. We're about to complete this semester. We have less than 1 month until this semester is completed. Internalize what is being shared with you. Like a cow with grass, a seeker with this science. We continue with the warning, verse 67. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nu vidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavam ivambasi. Show me your indriyas. All of our external body is an indriya. The skin is an indriya. Hi charata. When it is not directed. When the senses are not directed, what will happen? Yat manaha anuvidhiyate, the mind will follow. So Vivek's eyes are wandering over there. What's going to follow? My mind is going to follow too. Not just that, tat asya, also my prajna. Here, which you can interpret as the intellect. Where my mind is going, my intellect is going to follow too. So all of a sudden, if I happen to see rabbits, my intellect, which makes me unique, which is to be used for enlightenment, what is it being used for? It's following the mind, which is following the eyes towards rabbits. These equipments, the senses, the body, the mind, the intellect, harati. They are stolen. And they're not stolen from ourselves. I still have them. But what they're being used for is a waste. The earlier term was prajna pratishtita. For the one who lives by buddhi yoga, karma yajna, their equipments, they stand. They're being used fully. But for the one who doesn't live like this, harati, their equipments are wasted. Like what? Iva means like. Vayuhu navam ambasi. Like a boat in water is tossed around by wind. Ambasi, water. Navam, boat. Vayuhu. Instead of that boat directing itself in the water, the wind is directing the boat. Now, there's a lot of poetry to this example. In our culture, water is sometimes associated with samsara. Samsara means mundane existence, and it's compared to an ocean. And wood is compared to the scriptures, one's guide. Our guide wears padukas. Those padukas are known to be a boat because wood floats on water, correct? The idea is to hold on to that boat, to be free from this mundane existence. That's the poetry with which these words, these examples are being used. Final thought. Sense direction, personality direction. The word charatam means to wander. The word brahmachari, the etymology of this word, brahmani charati iti brahmachari. When our senses, when our equipments wander towards Brahman, it's the same charati, the same wandering, but not to the rabbit, but rather to independent joy. Then one is a brahmachari. So the senses, the body, the mind, the intellect, these are not problems. It is what we are using these for. Shri Krishna shared, with abuddhihi, there is no change. With buddhihi, all changes. To application, your application yesterday was to create a visual for the verse 62, 63 ladder of fall, or the verse 66 ladder of fall. Does anyone have that handy? So I can see. I've forgotten. So I need to see your visual. Good. The reflection behind this application. Insight in mind. We are very much of the habit out of sight, out of mind. But the one who's internalizing, they work to keep this in sight, to keep it in their mind. Your application for this morning, for this weekend. When we restart Bhagavad Gita on Monday, the word tasmat is coming at you, which means Sri Krishna's completing another train of thought. Be in tune with what he just shared, so that when he says tasmat, which is the completion of this chapter, you are in tune with this. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.